All right, good morning, everybody. We're going to kick this off because we got a long day for a lot of the folks in the room. So just want to say, first off, thank you to the Grant Blues one more time. I got to figure out how to make them like my morning ringtone to wake up. That was awesome. Just want to say again, welcome to everybody in the room, educators, industry professionals, students. This is our 22nd Expo and Breakfast, and it wouldn't be here without people like you coming together. This is really an important event to bring the industry and the students together, something that doesn't happen enough, and really show some inspiration to those students that Portland is here for everybody. We're helping to build them up. So I also want to just say thank you to the breakfast sponsors that brought you the bacon and eggs there. Another good way to start the day, so excited about that. Drink up that OJ. So a little bit about just why we're all here. At PWA, we believe in one thing. It's big dreams, good jobs, all students. PWA is something I got involved with back in 2017, just out on the Expo Hall. Seeing everybody come together, all the students excited, the eyes lighting up to seeing all the amazing things on the floor, and just all the people in the room coming together for them. I mean, this at the end of the day, we're here for the students. So really an exciting thing. And I guess introductions. My name is Matt Hansen. I'm the Portland Workforce Alliance Board President. Also work for Fortis Construction.
And my name is Brianna Jackson. I am the Board Secretary for the Portland Workforce Alliance.
So yeah, just a little overview of kind of what to expect here at the breakfast. We've got the program on the table for everybody. We're here to listen to some inspiring speakers. We've got a couple speakers that are going to tell you their story, a little bit of how they got there. You may find some connections in their path or just have that inspire something in you in developing your own path. We also have an opportunity to connect. You'll see it's a mix of students and industry peers and educators, so we'll have a moment for everybody at the table to have some conversations, and really urge everyone to just be curious, learn about each other, ask questions. This is why we're all here. And we'll also have, just a chance to really get involved through the lives of high school students here. Really lean into the students at your table, learn about them, figure out ways that you can kind of share your stories and connect the dots there. Because at this point in high school, I don't think anybody really knew what we wanted to do. I had no clue. I was terrified of the idea that I'd be standing on a stage looking at, 1,000 eyeballs staring at me. So, but it's really cool to see everybody coming together for this. I got my son in the background there, Gavin. Hi. I told him I wouldn't embarrass him, so I had to. And then, so we'll transition. We got some great stuff for you, some videos to watch, and appreciate everybody coming by.
Wonderful. Thank you, Matt. Again, my name is Brianna Jackson, and our theme this year is Together We Grow, which I think is really poignant because as we think about a rising tide which raises all ships, there's an opportunity for each of us to be here together in community. As we continue to serve in this space, it's an opportunity for us to be able to think about who we were when we were younger, whether it would be afraid to step on stages or someone like me who loved to be on every stage that was offered. It's important for us to think about the spectrum that all of our students are at. You being a part of this community gives us a chance to grow together, to be able to realize the potential of the students in this room and across Portland. So thank you so much for taking the opportunity to be here. And please, please, please make sure that after you have that bacon and that orange juice, that you go downstairs and see the magic that we are creating by having such an incredible event. And at this time, we'd love to show you a video to give you a little bit more of a flavor about what Portland Workforce Alliance is all about. Thank you. Enjoy your morning.
1 1. Y'all, can you hear me? Yes. Hey, good morning. Good morning. Okay, let's do one more. Good morning. Buenos dias, buenos dias. How's the breakfast? It's good? Yeah? Who's here for the juice? What about the coffee? I see you. What about the students? Yeah, let's go. All right. Well, thank you for showing up today. We have a good lineup right here. My name is Carlos Sanchez. I'm the Partnerships Director for PWA. Have fun, but, Susan, why don't you kick it off?
Good morning. I'm Susan Nielsen, I'm Director of PWA. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming out today. It's great to see you. You all go ahead.
You want to
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, I'll get started. Well, we have Rachel here. Rachel, who are you? Tell us who you are.
Good morning. My name is Rachel Perez. I'm a senior at Roosevelt High School, and I'm interested in architecture.
Let's go.
Yes.
Okay, well, why are you here?
Honestly, I'm here to connect with our community as well as just, experience this wonderful breakfast one last time from the student perspective, of course. Yeah.
So you're one of our PWA stars, just like all of our students. You've been through so many of our programs: Career Days, Summer Career Academy, Construction Mentoring Program, ACE. Tell us a little bit more about that. What was that experience like?
It's been great, honestly. I've continued to experience these programs and just continue working with PWA just because it's such an amazing opportunity, and it's opened so many doors for me, honestly, especially in the field of architecture and the field of construction and engineering. I've met a lot of mentors and a lot of professionals who've offered wonderful advice.
So what got you into thinking about construction, architecture as a pathway?
I've been interested since I was little. However, just the experience that a building offers, or how the shape or the feeling of a building affects our well-being, is what really caused me to architecture. So I think it's been a wonderful experience just learning more about the art form and how I can involve myself in it. Yeah.
So let's look back at before, going into PWA programs. I know we talked about a little bit of confidence builder, just feeling like you belong in the space. What did that feel like going to the program? I know you told me you learned something really important last night through one of these mentoring programs.
Through the Construction Mentor Program, it's such a little detail, but I think it's really important. I learned how to give a proper handshake. It's something so, so tiny and insignificant, but it truly is important how you present yourself, how firm your handshake is, how much eye contact you give, and just important stuff like that. And it allows mentors and professionals to really remember your name. So.
Really important. Make sure you can shake everybody if you can. So you're entering a field that you're a female of color. You're going into a field that is not primarily served by women of color. What does that feel like? What does it make you feel?
It's kind of scary, especially when you're just going in blindsided, when you don't really know who to look up to and who's the right mentor, role model. But I think all the people that I've met have offered such supporting energy and such inviting and supportive advice. So I think I'm doing a pretty good job in finding my way through the career path, but it's still something that I struggle to find. There's very limited women of color that look like me. So I think that's why I continue to work with architecture, just because I want to be that role model for young girls, not only in architecture, but also in such fields that are dominated by men.
So, is there someone that has had an impact on your journey? I know we talked about someone, I know we're great, PW is great, but I know there's people at your school that are doing also great things.
Yeah, definitely. My career counselor, Risa, she is amazing and she's opened so many doors for me. She was the first person to really mention the ACE Mentor Program. And from there, I've honestly gotten so many opportunities. So being here today is really all thanks to Risa, as well as Raquel Leish. She works in the CTE department. She's also been so supportive and just encouraging and really been that person to like push me farther.
Shout out to the educators and career coordinators out there.
Yes.
Let's go. All right, last two questions to close it off. Advice for other students out there, and I mean, let us know about your plans. What's happening after graduation?
My advice is talk to the people at your table right now. Introduce yourself, give that proper handshake, and just lean into that discomfort. It's always scary to meet new people, especially professionals. But once you kind of get to know their name, you just realize that they're just like you. So really talk to them and take advantage of your opportunity here at the breakfast as well as the Expo and other programs. And my plans for next year is going to college. My top pick right now is University of Oregon to study architecture. Yes.
Well, thank you, Rachel. I was glad chatting with you again.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. Hey, late breaking student, it is Connor coming in hot from Sam Barlow High School. Woo! We're going to give you a minute to get settled. I'm going to talk to Theo. And yeah, traffic is really bad on I-84. Connor can tell you all about it in a minute. Hey, quick question for you all. I'm wondering if you can picture yourself as a ninth grader, all right? Raise your hand if you can remember yourself in the ninth grade, 14, 15 years old. Okay, hands up. Okay, now keep your hand raised if you had a perfectly formed career plan then that you have perfectly executed since that time. No? No hands? I see one hand. I need to talk to you after the breakfast, find out your secret. That is one reason why we see from PWA the point of view that career exploration is so important for high school students. It's a chance. It takes time, right? It takes time to figure out who you are, what you want to do, and why. And so over the course of career exploration, you can find that about yourself and try some different things on for size. When you do that in high school, doors can open for you. I'm going to talk a little bit to Theo here. Theo, are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, let's do this. Theo, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. Good morning. My name is Theophilus Stillwater. I'm a senior at Clackamas. And I want to become an electrician when I'm older. And those are my goals so far.
Awesome. So electrician, there's a lot of really cool trades, a lot of great trades represented at the Expo and here today. What is it about electrician that appeals to you?
Growing up, my uncle, he owns an HVAC company. And I don't want to become an HVAC, but just kind of growing up around like the electrical part of it and just kind of seeing like how his brain works and everything, and kind of like I got to shadow him a little bit, and I thought it was so interesting just working with your hands and like the electrical aspects of it. And like, no offense to like the people who work at like a desk and stuff. Me personally, I don't want to work at a desk. You know, I love working with my hands and just having like the exposure of that as a young kid. And I was like, this is the coolest thing ever, you know. And like the thought of getting shocked or whatever, you know, I was like, maybe I'll like get superpowers or something if I get shocked, you know. So I thought all that was so cool.
You're at the OEG table today, so maybe they could talk you through some of that.
Maybe they have powers or something.
They may have They do have superpowers. This summer, you were in our construction mentorship program with Rachel.
Yeah, Rachel's there.
A lot of our partners here today were part of that, Oregon Laborers and different partners. Briefly, could you share like why you decided to apply to that, and maybe what were some of the things you did there?
One of the biggest reasons why I took that opportunity was just because of like get my like exposure to everything, and just to meet like the wonderful adults and like the professionals and get cards from everybody, and kind of just get like experience talking to these adults and everything, and just kind of like getting out of my comfort zone and like taking up this opportunity that I had, because I think it's very important for students like me who get these opportunities that we need to take it. One of the biggest things I took away from that program was they taught us like how to make resumes, and kind of like the whole interviewing process. And so we did like these like little trials. We would just get interviewed by 2 adults, and I think that was so important, and it builds so much confidence in the kids, especially myself, kind of giving us an idea of what we're going to see in the real world. I think it's very important that we get that kind of like idea and almost like training for it, because it's such a huge part of getting hired is being confident, knowing what you're going to say, having a strong resume. I think it's super important for kids like my age to like learn those skills.
For sure. Just having a chance to practice a little bit before the real thing. Like today, like no problem today, right?
No problem.
Exactly. Now, you've taken some construction classes as well. What do you see as the value of being able to explore career options like while you're in high school and those types of classes and everything?
Yeah, I think it's very important because we're only, students for so long. Well, I mean, you're going to learn your whole life, But, like, you're only in high school for 4 years, you go to college and then for 5 or more years. So it's like majority of your life you're going to be working, and in a job. So I feel like it's very important to get early exposure and kind of just see all the different ideas, And, like, I could be going to electrician my whole life right now, and then the next 20 years I just completely flip it, because I thought, like, oh, at the NWCOC stuff, I thought that welding was cool, and like I just think it's very important that like we get to the exposure of so many different jobs and so many different like workforces and everything, because it's like you never know what you're gonna do. You never know if everything flips or and you're gonna be working your whole life basically. So it's very important that you see what you want to do for a while.
Agreed. Thank you. Okay, last question. You are graduating this spring. Congratulations.
Thank you.
From North Clackamas. Tell us where you see yourself 3 years from now. Paint a picture for us. 3, 5. Tell us about those superpowers.
So right after high school, a little bit about me, I do unified basketball. So I help kids with like special needs play basketball. And one of my friends' mothers has a nonprofit for them. So I'll probably do that just for like the rest of the year for like 6 months, help her out with that. And then after, I'm hoping to, so far, JATC, to like, one of like a non-union route is what I want to do. And so hopefully I can get into that and then just navigate through that for the next 3 to 4 years and figure out if I want to do like residential, or see like through that path is kind of my idea right now.
All right. I know there's a lot of you with workforce needs here, so anyone's hiring, come talk to Theo. Get you all hooked up with construction jobs. Theo, congratulations. Good luck.
Thank you.
We really appreciate you being here with us this morning.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be up here.
Absolutely. Have fun at the expo. All right. Connor, how are you?
Good.
Okay, let's go. Connor,
All
do you
right.
want to introduce yourself?
Howdy, I'm Connor Ross from San Barlow High School, as well as a public charter school. Hey, I see you.
Right there.
As well as a public charter school in the area called the Center for Advanced Learning, or CAL, where I study their medical program.
Awesome. Now, you have done a lot of career exploration while you're in high school.
Yeah.
I've known you for a couple of years now. Maybe briefly give some examples of some of the things you've done.
Well, for instance, I have done career days, career expos. I've shadowed, as well as doing a bunch of extracurriculars, such as the Portland Workforce Alliance Future of Nursing program. And at Adventist Health, I've done their Student Health Leaders program.
Tell us a little bit about how your interests have evolved over that time. Have they been fixed? Have they changed? Tell us about that.
They have very much changed. When I was first starting out in high school, I wanted to be a psychologist. And I liked being able to help people, and that was really what drove me. And then once I joined Cal and their Center for Advanced Learning in the medical, I realized I also really liked providing medicine, learning about human anatomy. And so I wanted to be a nurse. And I like the high, fast-paced version of ICU or ER nurse. Now that I'm a senior, I started looking more into it, and I realized that what really fit me and what I really liked was the high-pass, ever-changingness of a paramedic. And so now I want to go into paramedic.
Awesome. That sounds great. So you are in our new Healthcare Fellows program. It's a chance to earn some early certifications and some paid learning opportunities. Tell us why you applied for that and kind of what you're hoping to get out of it over the next 3 years.
I applied for it because when I first heard about it, I looked at all the pros and cons of it. As I do with most of my decisions, I looked at make a pros sheet and a con sheet, and I realized that this is really something that fit my goals and what could help me further my future. So I wanted to join to help me get that extra step ahead, so that way I can achieve my goal even faster.
Awesome. We're glad you're with the program.
Thank you.
So you've been taking CTE classes at school and healthcare, and you've been exploring careers in the community. Maybe tell us how those two things are different, like how they complement each other or how they've been helpful to you.
Yeah, so with the CTE classes in school, they build a foundation. They allowed me to kind of explore what I wanted to do and kind of get it set into what I want to be. And then the extracurriculars really cement that in. They make it so I know for a fact this is the exact path I want to go. They allow me to further explore even deeper. So, for example, at Cal, I'm taking a applications and practices class. And being able to actually use what I'm learning in class on the test dummies or in the field is really cool. And that helps me realize, yes, this is the area I want to go into. But then being able to do stuff like the Portland Workforce Alliance Future Nursing or the fellowship, that really helps me get the practical knowledge and seeing what it's actually like instead of just a simulation. And that really cements it in that, yes, this is exactly what I want to do.
Awesome. Thank you. Last two questions. I'm wondering if you've gotten any career advice along the way, whether from a volunteer or family member or a teacher, something that stuck with you that you're going to carry with you after graduation.
Yeah. For this one, I have to go with a advice I've gotten from my grandpa. He was a cop for many years in Multnomah County and Gresham PD. And one thing he always is a constant theme in his stories, and one thing he constantly tells me is that even under high stress, you have to stay calm. That is the utmost important, because if you're stressed and you're thinking fast-paced and you're thinking stressfully, then you are not going to necessarily make the correct decision. You're not going to think of all the outcomes and make the best decision for that scenario. And especially with being a paramedic or a nurse, you have to heavily think, what is the best shot for the outcome of the patient? For the patient's health, what can I do to help them best? And if I'm thinking, oh no, what's going to happen? I could make a mistake that costs them their life. And I would never want to do that. And so I have to make sure I stay calm even under stress.
That's awesome, and such a core skill for someone in emergency services. Thank you. And good advice for all of us, right? Last thing, you're graduating this spring also. Congratulations. We have three seniors up here. What are your plans for next year?
Next year, I plan to attend the Oregon Institute of Technology in their pre-paramedic and then paramedic program. After that, I plan to go to PCC for their fire program, Fire Academy, and be a fire paramedic.
Amazing. Well, you are sitting this morning with Port of Portland and some great emergency services professionals, so you can have a chat with them in our table discussions, learn more about their jobs. Students, those of you who are at different tables, you have a chance to ask questions later in the breakfast with folks at your table. If you don't have any students at your table, you can steal them from another table. Just kidding. One thing you've seen, we've known all of these students for a good bit. They have all grown tremendously over the last several years, and I know they'll continue to do so. Let's give all three of our students like a big round of applause.
Okay, when do I start? Hi, my name is Tamaya Nelson, and I am a senior at Lincoln High School in Portland Public Schools. Last year, I was in PWA's Nursing Mentor Program, and now I'm getting more experience in the PWA Healthcare Fellows Program. I want to pursue my career in healthcare so that I ensure all people receive the care that they need and feel supported. I'm especially interested in making healthcare more accessible to all individuals in my community. Next year, I plan to attend PCC for 2 years to earn my associate's degree in healthcare and then transfer to university to finish my education.
Hi, I'm Jenny Nguyen, and I'm currently a freshman at Park Rose High School. This fall, I attended my first career day. It's a little hard to tell, but there I am on the right. My favorite part of this career day was getting to experience what a typical workday looked like because it really helped me envision what my future could look like and would look like if I continued down this career path. A couple other career paths I was wanting to learn more about are healthcare and technology. I'm interested in healthcare because I think that it is so important to have a positive impact in both your community and the people around you, and I think this is the perfect way for me to do that. I'm interested in technology because I feel like it's everywhere, whether your phones, your computers, or the screen that's showing us right now. I think that it is such a big part of our future, and I would love to be a part of that. It is our pleasure this morning to introduce Jenny Nguyen, one of Portland's most iconic entrepreneurs. Jenny grew up in Portland and is a first-generation Vietnamese American. She got her start in the restaurant business and launched her own restaurant called The Sports Bra in 2022 after recognizing that there were no places where fans could gather to watch women's sports.
Jenny's business instantly attracted national attention and is now positioned to expand nationally. Meanwhile, Jenny continues to support our community here. Everyone, please welcome CEO and founder Jenny Nguyen.
Oh my God, so many mics. Is this one on? Good morning, everybody. Wow, this is my first time to this, and I feel like these guys could be up on stage giving this speech instead of me. Thank you, PWA, for having me. What an opportunity, what a joy. Good grief. I didn't have any of this when I was growing up. I also didn't have a speech written, so I'm gonna go ahead and just get started. My name is Jenny Nguyen. I'm the founder and CEO of The Sports Bra. Like they said, I was born and raised here in Portland, Oregon. I am the only child to 2 Vietnamese immigrants. And so for the Asians out there, you probably know what it feels like to have Asian parents applying lots of pressure. Now, just imagine you're the only child. So I actually didn't have anyone I really looked up to growing up because I didn't see myself reflected back to me. So when people asked me, I would pick the person who most represented me, which was Mom. And in a lot of ways, yes, absolutely my hero. But growing up in Portland, lots of white people. So I grew up in the 80s. It was a majority white folks. And I fell deeply in love with basketball at a very young age. And I never really felt like I fit in anywhere. But when I had a ball in my hands and I stepped foot on a court, it was like all of my insecurities, all of the ways I looked different, felt different, all of that disappeared. And I belonged somewhere. With basketball, I found myself, I found my tribe, I found a place where I felt comfortable and accepted. And I grew confidence while playing a sport. What was interesting was that it felt like as I got older, I saw less and less folks who looked like me playing the sport that I loved. So I kind of teetered into this curiosity zone where my parents would be like, what do you want to do? What do you want to be? And I was just like, I want to play basketball. And so I had this kind of delusion that basketball was going to be my entire future. But I also saw the mailman, the mail person. I saw drivers. I wanted to be a race car driver. I sometimes picked stuff out of my mom's teeth, and she'd be like, you want to be a dentist? And so as a child, I stayed really curious. And so I did a bunch of stuff, but no matter what, I always continued to play basketball. It wasn't long before I realized that I was different in another way. I was probably 7 years old when I realized that I was gay. And this was something that I did not talk about. And this kind of ate at me a lot. But basketball was still my way of belonging. As I got into middle school and high school and all of my friends were dating, I was just like, nah, I ain't got time for boys. I'm playing basketball. So it kind of became a crutch. But that was basketball was still my jam. I was really delusional about basketball because I wasn't that good at it. But I continued to say, I'm going to play in the NBA. And then when, 1996, the dream team, the Olympic women's dream team, and then I saw women on TV playing basketball. I saw women on Wheaties boxes, women having shoes that were named after them, playing basketball. And I was just like, this is it. This is our time. I'm playing basketball. But it was interesting because I continued to believe in basketball as my dream, and my parents continued to push me in different directions. And then I have lots and lots of cousins, and they were finding their paths. One wanted to be a doctor. One wanted to be a lawyer. 17 of them wanted to be engineers. And when I was in high school, my senior year, I had a scout from Clark Community College come to my basketball game. And they offered me a scholarship, $400 a quarter. And I saw that as, oh my God, I'm playing basketball in college. So I was stoked, and so I continued to live this kind of dream of playing basketball. Well, anyway, I was 19 years old. Oh, so back up a little bit. So when I was 17, I finally came out to my parents, and it was absolutely frightening. But the moment I did it, it felt as if the whole world opened in front of me. It was like I had been living this really narrow lane of everything that I saw and felt as my true identity through basketball. And then when I came out, it opened the lens up. And so I started to kind of step into myself a little bit more. And then when I was 19, I get this $400 a quarter scholarship, and I'm like, this is it. And then 2 weeks before tip-off of my first freshman game, I blew out my ACL. Yeah, I felt that way also. And it was really devastating. It was really, really hard for me. It felt as if everything that I had lived my whole life for fell away, and I was nothing. So kind of on the coattails of coming out and kind of the trauma of that, my parents weren't it took them a while to warm up to that. Kind of that plus the injury, it threw me into a bit of a whirlwind. And a few of the things that I really leaned hard on was friends, family members, folks who supported me whether or not I played basketball and whether or not, my sexual orientation. And some of the best advice was, you grow up your entire life as a kid and you think what you want is to fit in. But what makes you different is what makes you special. It's your superpower. And so the people in my community, my friends, my family, the folks who really inspired me to wake up and keep trying and keep going, they were the ones that leaned into, this is your superpower. Be yourself. You'll find your own path. And it sounds super cliche, but it is exactly what kept me going. So anyway, I'm in college. My parents wanted me to be a doctor. And because I felt like my dreams had been crushed, I was just like, sure, I guess I'll be a doctor. So I enrolled into college as pre-med. And beginning of my sophomore year, I really started to get homesick, but not for like home, but for home cooking. So I call Mom and I ask her to give me a recipe for thit kha, which is my favorite dish that she made growing up. And it's kind of a pork butt braised in fish sauce, brown sugar. And she gives me this recipe and I cook it in the dorm. And yeah, like 4 floors smelling like fish sauce. Everybody was pissed, right? But it was so delicious. And I ate it and then I asked Mom for more recipes. And I kept cooking. And I kept cooking. And then by the end of my sophomore year, I called my parents and I said, this is probably a harder conversation than coming out. I said, Mom, Dad, I don't want to be a doctor. I want to be a chef. That conversation went very poorly, as you can imagine. But anyway, my dad then gave me some of the best advice anyone could ever give. And honestly, I think he said it to scare me. He goes, Jenny, why don't you do it for a year? And if you want that to be your life, then go for it. He goes, but don't do the dream job. Do the worst thing you can think of in that field and do it for a year. And I was like, fine, okay. So I ended up going and applying at Red Robin, was my first kitchen job. And there was this position that everybody colloquially called it the fryer boy position. But it was, you ran the fryers, it was 4 sets of fryers. And it was really filthy and dirty and extremely hectic. And the ticket machine, that clicking sound, I had nightmares about it for like the first week. But I was absolutely hooked. My adrenaline was peaked, I loved it. So even though my dad probably was trying to scare me, I was all in. So I did cooking for a long time, graduated college, moved back to Portland, went to culinary school, went to school full-time, and then worked full-time in restaurants. All the meanwhile, playing basketball. I had rehabbed my knee, was playing league ball, making a ton of friends, often on the court, but through basketball. And I stayed in kitchens, worked my way up from fryer boy all the way to an executive chef at Reed College, working about 15 and a half years in kitchens. I didn't do anything else but work in kitchens, and I loved it. And then I took a trip to Vietnam with my parents when I finally had something called PTO. And the trip to Vietnam, I had no expectations other than to eat really well and then see where my parents grew up. I came back and put my notice in. I wanted to change my life. There was something about being in Vietnam, something about seeing community, something about seeing people celebrating their lives on the street with each other that made me realize that I was missing something back home. Here I was working in kitchens, my dream job really, 80 hours a week, not seeing anybody. And so I quit my job. And meanwhile, continuing to play basketball. And all of that's to say, when I came out at a young age, I found people who accepted me, and I found out who I really was. I continued to play a sport that drove me and gave me a sense of being. And then I picked up a career that reminded me of home and then gave me a purpose to work with my hands, to deliver great customer service and experiences. And then in 2022, I was able to combine all of those things and open the world's first sports bar dedicated to women's sports, and to create a space where finally I felt like I could see myself reflected, but also where I feel like many other folks can come and also see themselves reflected. And I guess my closing would be that being your true authentic self is your superpower. Finding the people around you who can support and love and nurture you. This is an entire room of people who want that for you. To lean in, ask for help, do all of the things, but no matter what, be yourself and do what matters to you most. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Jared Briggs. I am the CEO and founder of a small startup called Retiv, selling software into banks. I joined PWA, actually I should say, I'm also on the executive team of PWA. I serve as the treasurer for this organization. I joined PWA to give back and invest my time and energy in helping to support and develop the next generation of leaders in our community.
Thanks for being the buffer between Jenny and I to talk. That was wonderful, Jenny. Thank you very much. Great story. I'm Scott Kleiner. I work at Wyden Kennedy. I'm also on the PWA board. I've been a part of the board for a decade and change, probably. Former life was in education. I was a teacher prior to working at Wyden Kennedy, and what I've discovered is that the health of our city can really be seen in the health of our schools. And I think it's really important to pay attention to those students and the staff in those schools because it will be reflected back in the larger city. I also love to talk about there are careers in creativity. No one thinks you can be a good drawer and find a job, and we have a building of them. And then lastly, another piece to be really a part of PWA is to encourage adults like you all to support our youth. Not very often I have an audience to talk to 500 business professionals and folks in the trades to sit with young students and have conversations and encourage them and be the support that we are hearing from our speakers today.
So for those of you that this is your first time here, you see the production, the amount of effort and time that goes into this. A big shout out to the PWA staff. As you make your way down to the Expo, you're going to see an even bigger production. And this work, sustaining this work, takes time and money. Volunteer time and employer support are priceless, and donations help too.
There's an airplane in the Expo. Just every year there's a new thing. I was like, what the? Yeah. Definitely worth checking out. We welcome all sorts of involvement. PWA, volunteer once a year, volunteer every day. We'll come back to volunteering and donations later. But there is an envelope. You'll see a little basket. There's an envelope and a card. If you want to get more involved, feel free to make a donation. There's a QR code that'll work too. And yeah, please stay involved that way.
All right. Now, Scott and I have the important job of this morning of kicking off the table conversations.
Based on this room and the table I was sitting at and seeing the folks in here, there's going to be some really great mix of conversations. We've got business leaders, community sponsors, and of course high school students. And I don't know that stealing students was the right way to encourage, but make sure there are students. This is your opportunity to have those conversations.
So basically, there's people at the table balancing school, sports, figuring out what to do with their lives, and professionals balancing meetings that probably could have been emails.
And students, this is your chance to ask those what's your most awkward moment? I know some of you are probably sitting with maybe even your teachers. This is that fun time to bring out and ask those questions or ask people how they got where they are. This is little tidbits of career advice.
And sponsors, this is your chance to remember what you actually do every day.
So take a few minutes, introduce yourselves, ask those burning questions, students. Adults, be ready for we have a short amount of time, so make sure you do brief answers so that the students have a voice at the table. There's some prompts on the slide for you. You can ask. I've heard a lot about superpowers today, so like ask what your superpower is, and we will close this up in a little bit and get you back together. But please enjoy some conversation at your table.
Yeah, enjoy. I think we've got about 10 minutes, so enjoy. See if they just get quiet on that.
It's the worst.
All right, everybody. We're going to bring it back here. I know there's some great conversations going on, and hopefully you can continue those after the event. But if we can bring it back here, we'll keep the program moving.
If you're a student and you feel a little more confident about your future, that's great. That's kind of the plan. If you're a professional and now you feel slightly intimidated about how impressive the students are, also happens every year. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, thanks for everybody for participating in the conversations. I always enjoy walking around, listening to some of the back and forth between students and professionals. Sounds like there was some great conversations and learning moments, so thanks again.
Okay, remember the envelope conversation I mentioned earlier? So we're back to that. On that envelope, there's lots of ways to note how you want to participate. It could be just a business card, could be I want to help out, I want to be a part of the expo, I want to be on stage talking to 500 people next year. Take that envelope. Money also works. That's what funds all of this, so any donation is helpful. All the donations made today will help us strengthen and expand our career mentorships. Yeah, drop your business card. I've also noticed, Jared's got this little like hidden little shirt. I don't know if anybody noticed under the blazer. Like, we have a limited edition merch out there, and again, all the donations and purchases there also help fund the program as well. That was really nice.
Again, it's limited edition. Again, everyone who makes a donation of any size today will be entered into our prize raffle to win Blazers tickets or an annual membership to the Portland Chinese Classical Gardens. So some pretty cool prizes.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your morning.
Thanks, everyone.
Hello, my name is Audrey Peterson, and I am a sophomore at Oregon Charter Academy. Hi, Mom. This year I am on the PWA Youth Impact Council, where I help give advice about helping students go in where they want and exploring their careers. In my far-off future, I aspire to be a neurosurgeon, where I can help people who are having neurological conditions, and I want to help them on a physical level, but also on an emotional level. Through PWA, I have been able to make connections with adults and begin my networking journey way earlier than a lot of my peers.
Hi everyone, I'm Bao Nguyen, and I'm a sophomore at Park Rose High School. I'm on the Youth Council of Audrey, and both of us will be helping out at the expo today. Being part of the Youth Impact Council has given me the opportunity to network and further advocate for myself in preparation for my future. My interests in both business and nursing have encouraged me to pursue opportunities where I can combine healthcare knowledge with leadership and entrepreneurship, with my long-term goal of owning and operating a business in fragrance. It is our honor to introduce Dr. Ernesto Fonseca, the CEO of Hacienda CDC. Ernesto grew up in Mexico, where his parents worked in construction and nursing. He studied architecture and construction as a young person, ultimately earning a PhD in environmental design and planning in the United States.
He joined Hacienda in 2017, where he focuses on community and affordable housing. He also teaches at the School of Business at Portland State University. Go Vikes! Everyone, please give a warm welcome to Dr. Ernesto Fonseca.
Well, thank you, everyone. Good morning. How is everybody doing? Ready for us to be done? I want to thank Susan Nielsen, our executive director, and the Portland Workforce Alliance, for the wonderful work that they do every single day to support our youth, and for trusting me in coming here and sharing with you a little bit of my life journey, from Mexico to the United States. With that said, I always write my remarks. That is not always what I read. So I use them as a starting point, for me to not lose my track on everything that I'm trying to say. I'm saying this as a disclaimer, so you know that if I start to digress a little bit, just forgive me for a moment. My journey, as I was discussing with Susan, has never been as straight as you may think. I grew up really poor until I was around 12, and family and those supporters, people like you, those mentors make a big, big difference. So when I see this room, I see the next generation, I see the possibility that you all bring. And my hope, especially for the youth, not to put so much weight on you, is that you do better than we do. This is not a political speech, but it's definitely something that I can't avoid to mention. We are living very difficult times, I believe, in which some of us, especially communities of color and Latinos, are being persecuted by this administration. But I have always said, love, perseverance, and the work that we do will always be the ones that will come triumph in this mess. So to all of those that are being placed in those spots, especially those youths that are first generation in this country and that have parents that are not documented in the way that this country wants to see us, keep at it. Keep at it, because you are the future and you are going to change that, and we're going to prevail. You will see that little house right there. That's me, actually. I look a lot whiter than I am, but that's me. That little shack that you saw in the back was my house. So I grew up actually very, very poor, but my parents were extremely, extremely wealthy in some ways. I always said that while I didn't have a concrete floor, when it was raining, my house was leaking and everything got wet and muddy inside the house. What I had and my siblings had was the pride that my parents always placed onto us. We are the Fonsecas. And that's all we had. We had the few things that we cannot lose. We had honesty, hard work, and our last name. That's all we had. But that little comment, we are the Fonsecas, those 4 words really gave us the pride for us to feel that we had something and sometimes everything. So don't ever think that those material things or anything that we possess really define who we are. When I was growing up, my parents also instilled in me and the rest of my siblings, 3 of them, one of them is already left us, they hope that someday we'll go to college in a way that maybe not as much as you, Jenny, but they were like, when you go to college, when you graduate, you're going to do this, and that. My dad was a plumber, when I was growing up. They used to take us, his brother and my dad, in their bicycles to kindergarten and then to elementary school. I remember my butt really hurting because the bicycle in these, unpaved roads, when you were sitting in the front on the bar of the bicycle, it was just painful to go there. But so I was excited when I got to school. I was like, my God, this is over. So I was never the tall kid, the fastest one, the strongest one, but I was really good at books. So when I was in downtown, one time in downtown in central Mexico, in Querétaro, I was walking down the street and I heard somebody playing the violin. So I asked my mom, what is that? And she said, it's a violin. So we came into that school and I said, can I do that too? And she said, yes. Arts and education in Mexico are free, so I joined the school, I got my violin, and I played the violin for so many years until I was 24 years of age, to the point that I actually played in the symphony in LA. And it was such a transformational piece of my life that really helped me to understand that I could do a lot more and more and more on anything that we place our minds. I also realized that in that youth symphony, I wasn't necessarily the best. I remember an exchange that we had with the Youth Symphony of Beijing, and I was sitting with this young lady that was, oh my God, she was a goddess with that violin. So then I realized, maybe I'm good, but not that good. So I'm just going to step back a little bit and started, thinking of what else am I going to do with my life. My mom at that point had already, from being a homemaker, became a nurse. My dad started his own little construction business. I tried to go to med school. I was really bad at it, so I quit. I failed a few of my first tests, and I really didn't feel so passionate about it. I did like what my mom did as a nurse, but I couldn't really do it myself. Then I was not a great violinist, so what am I going to do? I like the arts. I like talking. I like friends. So I decided to go to architecture. I was like, well, that's like a real job. It's not playing the violin. Sorry, violinist. I know it's a real job, but that's what I decided to do, following a little bit the footsteps of my dad. My dad didn't have a college degree, but he was a builder at that point. Well, I did architecture, and I did well. Then we had a big crisis in Mexico, financial crisis. Things went bad really fast. We lost our properties, we lost our cars, we lost everything. I ended up doing a specialty in construction and soils in Guadalajara, Mexico. But then I didn't have anything else left. So I left, as many do, to the United States. I came to the US, I didn't have much. I borrowed money to come to this country. I started working in kitchens. I worked at Applebee's. I worked at the Olive Garden. I worked painting dreams at a factory shop, with prisoners that have, work release every day. I worked really hard without having really any north to follow, other than the ambition to do something good with my life, except that I didn't know what. The person that now is my wife, Susan Halverson, I met her at the Olive Garden. We started dating. I don't know what she saw in me. I was drinking, smoking. It wasn't really a great catch, to say the least. I don't know if I would have gone out with myself, but she did give me a chance. And she asked me the question, why aren't you practicing architecture? I'm like, well, I don't know how. I don't even know how things work in this country. But she said, go back to school. I'm like, okay, great. I don't have papers. How do I go back to school? So I will help you. So she helped me to apply to Arizona State University for the first time to do a second master's degree. It was the very first person that saw me for what I could do in this country. And she helped me to do what I did for a long time. I went to Arizona State University. I was accepted. There were 2 lines, or actually 3: international student, permanent resident, citizen. Well, I didn't qualify for 2 of them. I was an international student. and I was not a citizen, but I was permanently living here, so I was like, okay, I'm a permanent resident, I guess. Not really, I knew I was lying, but I did it anyway. Well, 2004, that was in June 2004. In October 2004, I was deported. It was a really heartbreaking moment, for me, because I thought I had it. I am going to an American college. I am going to be in a university and have this degree, and suddenly everything ended. That was it. I was crying in a crappy hotel in Agua Prieta, Mexico, and I was pushed out in Douglas, Arizona. Susan, who was a community organizer, organized herself and collected signatures from professors, students that barely knew me, people that she knew from her work, and she contacted this man that passed away last year, Raul Grijalva, congressman, who gave me a chance, and I got a 30-day visa to come back to the United States. I did, and we processed my residency. By 2007, I became a permanent resident for real. By 2011, I became a citizen. And that deportation was perhaps one of the best things that ever happened to me, because it enabled me to give me the courage and really the energy for me to run for office. You probably saw a few slides there that say Fonseca for Tempe City Council. I did lose those two elections. I ran those two elections, but I did so great. I met so many people. I gained so much support. And I became the State Democratic Party chair of affirmative action, running men, minority men, women, and other minorities. I started my own business, also not having the ability to work properly in the United States gave me the ability to start my own business, and I ended up building about 1,200 homes in Arizona. What I'm trying to tell you here is that no matter what happens, never let a good crisis go to waste. Never. See those crises as opportunities. What Susan did for me, that's another lesson. Remember that somebody has to believe in you. Many people have believed in me since Susan and other people in Arizona and people in this state, in this city, and everybody has embraced me, and it is because of them that I have been able to do what I have done. In life, no one succeeds just because you want to succeed. We succeed because others want us to succeed. You have to do your part, of course. But don't be delusional that just because you want to succeed, you're going to make it. Somebody has to be behind you. Somebody has to hold your hand. Somebody has to push you, to wake you up, to get you to where you need to get in order for you to succeed. And that's what community is all about. That's what you need to do. I was such a naive guy, but also, some of those wacky ideas work out for me. In Arizona, I started my own board of advisors for me. And people were kind of funny. They were like, okay. I contacted this banker. He was the founder of the bank, Community Development Bank in Arizona, an executive director of a local CDC, and an academic. The banker said, I don't know what you're talking about, but no, thank you. He called me a few weeks later. He said, that's kind of cute, but maybe you got a point. What I didn't know is that I was talking about actually being a mentor. That was mentorship, what I was asking for. I was asking for direction. I was asking for at least a little bit of guide. Somebody show me a door of something that I want, that I can do. And they did. They invited me to events like this. They invited me to galas. They invited me to, grand openings of buildings. And I ended up also doing a PhD in environmental design and planning with a focus on public health. You see, at the end of the day, my path has never been the path that anybody plans. So I am asking all of you, the youth in this room, to remain flexible. Remaining flexible, being able to adapt, will give you the ability, to continue to be relevant. It is those that are able to change, those that are able to adapt to the moments in time, no matter what that is, that will continue to make a big difference in in this country. And in these communities, for that matter. I believe that I have staked my career on something that Dr. King once said, you know, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. But I also know this, that arc doesn't bend on its own. It's bent because of people like you, people like the mentors in this room that refuse to let go. They refuse to let go and to let you go without a path for you to follow, or at least an inspiration for you to keep going. I am standing here today as the CEO of Hacienda CDC, the largest community development corporation led by Latinos for everyone, not just for the Latinos in the Northwest. We were recently ranked as number 13 as the largest commercial developers in the state by the Portland Business Journal. So from that little tar paper house to where I am standing today, we serve almost 10,000 people every single day. We house almost 3,000 people every single night. And we have provided the small business support, education, mentorship, pathways, for high schoolers into the STEM industry for us to succeed. We can do this together, and I hope you guys, the next generation, do better than we do in this mess that we're living in. Thank you so very much for the opportunity to speak to you today.
Someone left their glasses up here. Wow, that was amazing. Okay, so who's feeling inspired? Okay, we did our job. We did our job. That's amazing. So Anna and I get the pleasure of bringing us home before we have a final student performance. I'll introduce myself. I'm Natalie Miller. My day job is I serve as the West Coast Regional Director for Apprenti, and I get to serve as the Co-Director of Development with this fine young woman here. And today we get to do the thank yous. We get to thank the army of people who support what we do, but there's this group of people that weren't on the slides, and I see you all in the back. It is the staff. And all of them, the 6 of them, everybody wave and say hello. They are incredible. They coordinate all of these cheetahs and kittens that are running around here, and they do all the work throughout the year. It is an incredible, incredible team. Thank you for being amazing. So with that, we are going to, I'm going to kick that to you.
Yeah, thank you. So Natalie gave me a quick intro. I'm Anna Yates. I'm the VP of Talent and Culture at Z-Beta. I've been involved with PWA since 2014. So Scott and Natalie probably exceed me in tenure by just a little bit. But I also get to work with Natalie on the development committee and, bringing it back to our work. It really is centered in big dreams and good jobs. And it's not possible without all of you in this room and those who support our mission every day. Today's breakfast is made possible by our breakfast sponsors. So thank you to AWS, Turner, Tonkin Torp, PERMA, and Human Investing. And then new this year, a shout out to On Point, our presenting Expo sponsor. We're incredibly grateful for their generosity and the year-round support that they give us.
Okay, so I'm going to have one request. Hold your applause till the end. We want to get out of here by 9 o'clock. There's a lot of people we got to thank, you guys. I'm serious. And so our next sponsors are the sponsors for the Expo. A lot of the groups that you see here have done this year after year. They are the organization that underwrites the cost for the Expo. If you haven't seen it, It'll blow your mind. So thank you to our diamond level sponsors. And then also we have our platinum sponsors. And so again, these organizations fuel the work that we get to do year round, but also the work that's happening downstairs and inspiring youth. And then we also have our gold, silver, and bronze level sponsors. It takes an army, I tell you, to do this work, for sure. And then also our Expo exhibitors and mock interviews. On the table, you have the Expo resource guide. There's 200 organizations down there, 200 booths. It's huge. There's going to be 6,000 students. There's 100 volunteers that will do probably 700 or 800 mock interviews today. If you want to see some inspiration, that is the place to go. Be late to work if you hadn't planned on going down there. I promise you it's worth it.
And we had the opportunity to hear today from students about their hands-on experiences through the work of PWA. And that work really wouldn't be possible without our partners who are providing those real-world experiences through job shadows and career days. And it really is critical to help connect the dots for students and gives them the opportunity to see themselves in a future career. I also just want to shout out our educator partners who ensure students know about all the opportunities available to them through PWA, and the career coordinators who deserve a special shout out. So as we enjoy our breakfast, they are corralling hundreds, thousands of students onto the expo floor. And we couldn't do this work without the support and partnership of the coordinators, staff, principals, administrators, and post-secondary partners. Are we done?
No.
All right. I know.
I think
it's a list.
I told you, so you had to hold your. No, we're not done. You failed. You failed. We're not done. You failed. Okay. Foundations and partners are funders. So you heard about the programs. You've heard about the nursing program. You've heard about the fellowship. We have financial literacy. These organizations and the staff, thank you for all of your work in going out and finding these in the board, because these partners are what is fueling the year-round work that we do. And we cannot do it without you, and we cannot do it without your support. So thank you for that. And last but not least, our PERMA board. This great group of people, you see the organizations that they're a part of. Find me a more diverse organization in terms of the industries that are served and the people that are here. It is why there's a seat for everybody, which is why we are all here. And Matt, Cole, Brianna, Jared, you are our executive committee, and thank you for your leadership. So, I think we're done.
Did we make it?
We did
make it.
Now we get to clap.
Yes. So so they ask us up here because we get to rally you all, get you excited to go down to the expo floor. But first, now we do get to clap. Before we do that, I'm going to ask anyone who has volunteered with PWA at some point throughout the year, or you plan to volunteer today, please stand up.
Don't be shy.
If we can have our sponsors please stand up. We're just going to keep going, y'all. We're just going to rally. Our students, they're the ones that deserve the biggest applause. Yeah. Okay. Does anyone know what today is? St. Patty's Day, yes.
Yep.
And we have a special Irish treat for you. The Triple File Band is here to help bring it home and officially kick off the Careers Expo. These are PPS students, including 2 from Roosevelt, and they are amazing. Okay.
give it up for the Triple File Band. All right, before we call an end to this, just want to say thank you again to all the industry leaders in here. We have an opportunity and a responsibility to help bring up the next generation, our next pipeline. And this support just shows how many open doors there are for everybody out there. For the students, you heard from your speakers today that career paths are never a straight line, but every opportunity starts with a conversation, a firm handshake that we learned earlier, and just curiosity. So go down to that expo floor, be curious, talk to some companies that you may not have thought of, just learn about them. And it could open up some doors that really change your life. So we're gonna have some more opportunity to listen to the Triple File Band here later, but definitely urge everybody, as we said, go down to that floor, check it out. It truly is an impressive gathering of our community support. So, thank you.